In the annals of antiquity, where the cradle of civilization rocked upon the banks of 7 sacred rivers, there unfolded an epic clash that would etch the very name of a nation into eternity. We speak today of the Dāśarājña Yuddha, Battle of the 10 Kings, the earliest recorded war in Indian and perhaps the world history. The Indo-Aryan clans had long settled the Saptasindhu, land of the 7 rivers, amidst the fertile valleys where the mighty Indus and its tributaries sustained life and legend alike. Here dwelt the 5 ancient peoples collectively remembered as the Panchachan, the Anus, Druhyus, Yadus, Durvashas, and Purus, together with the rising Bharatas who were closely related to the Purus and yet increasingly distinct. Among them, the Bharatas had begun to ascend under the resolute leadership of King Sudās Paijamana, a king of the Trishtu Bharata line, whose vision and valor would soon rewrite the map of the Indian subcontinent. Maharishi Vishwamitra, the formidable sage and warrior priest of the Bharatas, had long held the ear of Sudās, but Sudās displaced him and appointed in his stead the noble Maharishi Vasishtha of the exalted lineage. This removal, born perhaps of personal rivalry or divine favor, sent ripples of resentment through the Vedic cosmos. The ousted Vishwamitra, it is said, carried his grievance afar and forged the grand alliance against his former patron. Thus arose the confederacy, the Dāśarājña, coalition of 10 or more kings drawn from tribes across the northwest. These were the Purus, Yadus, Durvashas, Anus, Druhyus, Alinas, Paktha, Bhalana, Shiva, Vishanan, and others, led by Puru chieftains and possibly Chayamana of the Abhyavartin Parthavas. At its core stood the once dominant Purus, and with them marched the Panchajana. Some were pure Indo-Aryan kin, others perhaps bore the mark of those beyond the Vedic thing. The stage was set upon the Paruṣṇī, the river we today know as Ravi. Sudās and his Bharatas controlled the eastern bank, corresponding to what is now southern Punjab and Haryana. The confederacy approached from the west, vastly outnumbering the Bharatas, some 6,666 warriors strong, arrayed across the Paruṣṇī's banks. They built a dam, diverted its course, and planned to unleash a catastrophic flood upon Sudās' forces. But then came Indra, the thunder-wielding king of the Devas, the Vritra slayer, that unapologetic god of power, desire and ambition, the fourfold destroyer. The storm lord descended in answer to Vasishtha's potent mantras as Sudās' divine general. Through the priest's poetic mastery, Indra lent his blessing. The dike was breached not against Sudās, but by his own cunning stratagem, and the waters turned traitor upon the alliance. The Paruṣṇī rode in fury. Warriors, chariots, cattle and kings alike were swept away in the deluge. The leader of the Purus himself perished. Indra protected Sudās' chariots, rerouted the enemy hosts, and made their ranks scatter like frightened birds before the storm. The Rigveda sings of the rout in exultant verses, verse 7.18 and 7.33. The entire Confederate army was drowned in their own engineered catastrophe. A second phase unfolded further east near Yamuna's shores, where Sudās vanquished the local chief Bheda and his forces of the Ajas, the Shingras and the Yakshas. The triumph was total. Some tribes scattered westward in permanent exile, the Pakthas ceding the Pashtuns of later ages, the Bharanas echoing in the Balochistan, Druhyus drifting toward Iranian and even Celtic horizons, Parthavas becoming the Parthians, Bhrigus the Phrygians. Others lingered in the forests of Khandava. Sudās performed the Ashwamedha, the great horse sacrifice, proclaiming his unchallenged sovereignty over the entire Bharatvarsha. The Bharatas at last settled in the sacred Kurukshetra region. From this fusion of Bharata and Puru bloodlines would emerge the Kuru people, the first true polity of the subcontinent, the cradle of the great Brahmanical culture and the historical Vedic religion that would shape India for millennia. The Kurus would proudly describe themselves as sons of both Bharata and Puru, the living synthesis born on the battlefield. The very name Bharat, the eternal designation of our land, traces its earliest origin to this epochal war. The Bharata clan's triumph under Sudās gave the country its identity, Bharatavarsha, the realm of the victorious Bharatas. There was a time when conquest was celebrated, when rivers and gods conspired with mortal kings before later philosophies tempered such fire with harmony and acceptance. The Dāśarājña reminds us that greatness was once dreamt without apology. It endures as the living foundation of Bharat. In its echoes we hear the thunder of chariots, the roar of sacred waters turned against their makers, the scattering of nations like birds before Indra's storm, and the birth cry of a nation that would outlast empires and epochs alike. May its lessons of destiny, claimed through valor and divine favor, resound in every age.